All right. So this part is, we've got 4 of the ORBC commissioners here. This is just a chance for them to communicate with you guys about what's going on with the commission and their issues, and you also give them some feedback. So I'll let them introduce themselves.
I'm Ken VanDyke. I've been on the commission, I guess, 4 years now, and I'm the chairman of the research committee. And Tim Kreder is the chair of the commission. He's supposed to be here, but he didn't make it, so I guess he's probably busy or
Let's hope so.
That's great. Bochsler, I've been a commissioner for about 9 years now, and I've been on numerous different committees, and I'm the chairman of the Legislation Education Committee.
Hi, my name is Linda Strand, and I'm with Columbia Empire Farms, and I've been a commissioner about 5 years, and I chair the Promotion and Marketing Committee.
Hi, Don Sturm, Sturm's Dairy Farm, and I've been a commissioner since I couldn't even venture to guess. I got on here and they won't let me off. So. But I've enjoyed it. It gives you insight on what's going on. So.
I suppose I should have had some kind of structured plan. You know, if you guys, there are the assessment reports. The most recent one is on the back table. And it's kind of interesting reading when you look at it. If you guys have got specific things to talk about, it'd be great. But the one trend that's really very interesting is the income of the commission has been going up over the last few years, and that's because the industry's doing better. So I don't know if you want to talk about what the commission is up to or what the money is going into.
Well, if you look at your printout there, we're up in the, if I remember, we're at over 600, 630 or something like that for the 2014 assessment.
630,000.
Yeah, 630,000. So if you go back 4 or 5 years ago, that was significantly lower. It was in the low 400s, mid 400s. Even with last year's bad freeze out, we still made that. Of course, you know why, you know what the prices turned out to be last year, which was really good for the growers that had a poor crop. And of course, it was great for the growers that had a good crop. So there's a mixed bag. But we're putting your money to good use. There's a lot in reserve because we don't spend it if we don't think it's worthy. So there's a big reserve right now. I think we're, well, Ken, or you guys remember, aren't we up in the close to 800,000 reserve right now? So, you know, we've had years where one thing, we are now on a budget year where we actually make the budget with dollars in the bank. And we got to that point about 3 or 4 years ago. Prior to that, we would make a budget and make an assessment on what the crop was going to be and what the price was going to be, and we would budget based on that. And we had years where we actually had to curtail the budget. We actually had contracts with different people to do research, and we had to reverse those. That was pretty tough. So one of our goals was to be able to make a budget with money in the bank, and that has really freed up the way we can make a budget because it's real dollars. So that was a nice change.
When you say it again, too, as far as where the overall categories of, okay, so you got $630,000. What the big broad categories of how much money is going into different things, like promotions, research, overhead?
Well, promotion is usually around $150,000. However, we also have a portion of that money that comes from a grant. We've been doing real well with matching grants. Food First Marketing goes up for these grants with the Department of Ag and USDA, and we've been the recipient of almost $50,000 every year for the past 4 years. And if Kat were here, she'd tell you, but I think you heard that at the annual meeting a little bit about kind of where that money came from and how we were able to utilize it. It's been very effective. This year, I think our budget is, for this next fiscal year, is going to be right around 167, I think is where we came out. Want to talk about legislature? Want to talk about legislature?
That's no fun. We heard enough today on that.
I got my list of Ken, you're the chair of the research, so how much is going into research this year?
Oh, I don't know.
200,000?
Well, there's $110,000 that basically comes from ARS and USDA through the Blackberry Commission and then to Joe DeFrancisco for his program. And the reason we do that is because it was going through Oregon State, and Oregon State was, I believe, going to take 20% of that for managing the fund. And so Joe's program would basically lose $20,000 a year. And so we rerouted that funding through the commission. And we don't take anything for managing it. Basically, it just comes to us and we cut the check back to him. And then on the other side of it, we fund some of the projects at Aurora and Oregon State, and probably, I don't know, maybe another 100,000 for that, give or take, I'm not sure.
Yeah, 112, I think, this year, somewhere in there. What we budgeted for.
You know, it's you guys' money. You guys, the growers, pay 1% of your check to the commission every year, and it's your $652,000 that we're spending, and really it's probably in your best interest if you come to the commission meetings and kind of listen to what's going on, and if you've got some input, certainly speak up. And you know, if there's some projects that you think would have value or add value to your farms or your operation, or you think would be a good direction to go, we've got extra funds in the budget right now. We would certainly welcome your comments. Don't be afraid.
On that note, with promotions and marketing, you also may have ideas for those, for that topic. And I would love to have you either come to the commission meeting, or we actually have promotion committee brainstorming sessions. It's an actual committee meeting, so it's put Philip makes everyone aware of it in the newsletter that it's coming up, and we notify everyone soon enough that you could plan on attending. But we do put our heads together and come up with all of the ideas that we have that we're going to put the money towards. And I really think we've been putting some really effective programs together these last few years. But that's not to say that you don't have another idea that we could utilize and it would benefit the market, all of us growers.
So we've heard about promotion and research, and on legislative, our hands are kind of tied on that, on what we can back with money, but I just encourage you all to, there's a lot going on right now in Salem, so if you can write any letters in or go testify or anything, I mean, all the research and all the promotion, we're doing a good job. We've got good cultivars. We're promoting these things to where people want them, but if we don't have any help to help harvest them, that's where my concern is, that we could be in trouble. So if anybody here isn't doing their part and keeping in touch with that, I encourage them to do so, and you learn a lot at our commission meetings, so I encourage you to come too.
I got to attend the Oregon Farm Bureau Day just a couple of weeks ago down at the legislature. And I was really overwhelmed by the things that are on the docket. Please, aside from the governor's issues, and that we have a new governor today, but the issues that really pertain to us, and the one that Dawn brings up is probably one of the most relevant ones to everyone in the room, and that's labor. And the labor issue of having the cost of minimum wage go up to $15 an hour, and paying folks for their sick leave. The idea that if you have an opinion, you need to be writing your legislators about it is huge. They listen, and it was the opening day of legislature, and the Speaker of the House, the Speaker of the Senate, and the most prominent people in both the Democratic and the Republican Party all came to see the Oregon Farm Bureau and get their input. If you're not a member of the Oregon Farm Bureau, I'd encourage you to do that. But at the bare minimum, what they wanted to convey to all of the members was to talk to your legislators and make sure they know your opinion.
So I don't know if I have anything good to say anymore. Quiz us a little bit. What are you guys?
Well,
Any questions out there?
Yeah. It's your money, it's your commission here, so it's your chance to give them some feedback. I'm not sure, you know, it's always tough for these guys in particular to get feedback on what's going on with the industry. It really, it's just difficult to get this kind of venue, this kind of situation. So any of you out there who've got questions about what's going on with the commission, especially a state mandated commission where you're getting your money taken out of, you're being taxed. You got a chance here to say what you're being taxed for, what goes into it, and what's your priority. I think one thing I have heard is that one thing that people really appreciate, or quite a few do, is the support of the reading program. And that's just one minor part of what the commission is up to. So, not your nature.
What are you talking about, John?
You just hold on to your job there. So I'm rambling a bit. Go for it.
Going back to what's going on in Salem, can the commission directly state points represent us as growers? I mean, you know, I can imagine me going down to Salem and some people taking note of my name and saying, let's go try and put some pressure on this guy. I mean, you know, I think all of us work in an environment where, you know, we don't like any more attention on our operations than are already cast on a lot of those things. So I think some people might be hesitant to individually stand out, if you know what I mean. Can you guys, as a commission, say, hey, you know, here is the view of our growers?
We can, yes, we can hire lobbyists, and we can pass on our commission's opinions, and I guess represent you because you're not there. You know, if you wanted your opinion to be heard, then I guess you'd have to come to the commission meeting and push for your side of the story, or however you want to put it. But I don't think, you know, I mean, I've been to Washington D.C. a couple years ago and talked to all the senators and representatives from Oregon back there, and we've been to Salem a few times, and Linda and I have, and don't think that they're going to pick on you. That's not the case at all. I mean, most of the time, everybody I visited with, they're happy to see you, they're happy to hear from you, and they're in the same boat that we are. They can't read your mind. You know, the only way they know what you want is for you to go there and tell them, or send, you know, if you're worried about it, send them an email, or you know, you can write an email and send it to your representative or your senator, and kind of let them know what you think. The you know, if minimum wage goes to $15 an hour, then you know the guy that's working for you now for 14 is going to want 20, and the guy that's making 20 is going to want 30. You know, I mean, it's not going to stop at 15, and let them know that, you know, if they pass that $15 minimum wage, what kind of effect it's going to have on your farm.
You mentioned the word lobbyist. Do you guys have a lobby of somebody that we're paying for that's helping some cause?
We have in the past, Mark, and it got us absolutely nothing, so the commission voted not to do that. If we could find one that would work for us, we probably would. It just didn't pencil out. We got nothing out of it for what we received, so we are, you know, we cannot back bills, we cannot support bills or anything like that, but we could have a lobbyist to report into us, just that we got more information from each other and listening than we did out of the lobbyists, so we didn't feel like your money was being well spent.
That's actually why we took it upon ourselves to kind of start going down to Salem and going back to DC. so that we would have more information and then as a group be able to consider what to do next.
And as far as being scared about testifying or anything, and all the times I've never had no recourse, I can't say it doesn't happen, but they really do a voice from a personal opinion rather than from a commission, from an actual farmer there. They actually do listen to it, or appear that they are.
It does seem like it weighs a lot better with them when you go in as an individual than you go, you know, if you bring in the Farm Bureau or the Berry Commission, it just seems like if it's more of a personal type of a connection, your farm telling them what you need to be successful seems to weigh heavier than when you go in as a group and say farmers need this or whatever. Yeah,
So Ken, a few years ago, we had that matching grant program. I think you guys are all familiar with that, where processors who sell your berries could also use some of the commission money to have a matching program to go into customers and develop new products or develop new business that wasn't existing. So in other words, you're not competing against each other to take someone else's business, but it helped move product. And I think that was pretty effective for a lot of the processors that are in the room here today. All had something come out of that. And I think your promotion work is doing good, but I think it has to be generic. You can't specifically get into a certain account and a certain product, because then you're favoring one company or one whatever. It might be something to consider with all of the fruit that appears is coming our way the next few years, because I think we've got to figure out how we can sell more, how we can use more fruit. And it's not going to cost you anything to take proposals and to put something on the table that says, hey, let's take your surplus or a portion of that surplus and let's look for programs that will help us move fruit and get this stuff out of inventory and move down the road. So it might be something you could consider again.
actually, last meeting, that's exactly what we were talking about. I proposed, we've got extra funds in the budget. We probably have right now, we could probably spare another $200,000. And so I proposed that we looked at, not necessarily Packers. I thought maybe we could go to McDonald's or Burger King or Burgerville or something and say, listen, if you guys would put together a blackberry smoothie and buy 4 million pounds, we'll give you $100,000 for advertising. And Darcy looked into that, and she didn't think that $100,000 to McDonald's or Burger King would even get their attention. And so maybe we're just looking a little too far. But yeah, we certainly are interested in something like that.
And then the conversation went to exactly, Dave, what you were talking about, which was actually taking the money then and having it go to the local processors and folks who could come up with something that would generate more sales. That's exactly what we were talking about last meeting.
You got to get to the buyer, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure at the commission level you have who can get to the actual buyer.
Part of the problem is you guys won't tell us who the buyers are.
Well, I will say,
This is berries.
I do have to say that last year, we were really effective on getting to the buyer, because we had people like Williams Sonoma, King Arthur's Flour. That one thing that happened, it was, I want to say it was at the beginning, no, pardon me, I think it was in May when it was hosted. And there were about 9 really qualified buyers here that the commission had brought in and invited everyone to attend or participate in. And I know it went out to several farms and people did it. And it was an effective use of money where those companies are looking to now make products with berries that they didn't realize really even existed. It's a surprise.
What about, I went to a commission meeting a couple times ago and there was a little bit of discussion about something kind of in between, so maybe not a McDonald's or a Burger King, but what about like a Burgerville or something that's a little bit more local? Do you see that fitting anywhere in the picture with the like extra?
I think they all fit in when it comes to that, because there's a processor for each one of those customers in this room. You know, that's something that really, And what the commission has to do is do it fairly. So we have to make it so that everyone has the opportunity to write an RFP. You know, if we write an RFP, then they can answer it, and then they can get the money. And we want to make it as easy as possible because we want the money to go so products can get generated. Because Ken's point was, how can we do it quickly? You know, how can you actually generate it and get something done more quickly?
Well, that old program that Dave was talking about, that was, couldn't you just repeat that same program?
I wasn't here then, so I don't know exactly what that program had. I know that was actually before Kat even took over the promotion. It was when, what was her name?
Jan Schroeder?
Jan Schroeder.
No, I
Did it with Tillamook.
But
No,
we talked
this was,
about,
this was putting out a bid to processors to come in to give projects, I mean, or you guys did one, I think, to develop projects, and the commission gave them 30,000 or so to develop a new product.
What we were leaning towards was to find a new market. You know, we would like to help fund whoever to create a new market to move additional products. We don't really want to get in a situation where we're paying to sell fruit to the same customer you had that bought the same product last year. You know, what we'd like to do is create new markets to move additional product because look at the plant sales report, the acres are going in, the production's going up, and we need to expand the market.
Right. Well, that would have to be in the criteria. But I think the main thrust behind the program before was that it doubled your money.
By moving.
By match.
By matching, and then I would have no interest, as an example, speaking for our company, of coming to the commission for a program that we were going to match and put our own money in that I didn't think was worth doing. That doesn't mean it still has to fit your criteria, and that could certainly be one of them. It has to be something new. It has to be an account that maybe is not using Oregon berries, maybe they're using chilies or whatever, you know.
Yeah, that would need to be one of the criteria is to do something different, or something, or maybe a brand new company, but maybe that's not as easy as it sounds, but
Pot
that would
edibles?
be a target.
Yes.
Yeah, sort of along this line, I don't know, Kat, got a chance to talk to you, but one of the associate athletic director from OSU approached us and said they were really unhappy with, they would like to get berries into the athletes' diets. And I don't have any idea whether that is something that works for Stallbush because they're right across the river, or whether that's something that works across all the berry industries, but I don't think it's something that's never really been explored. I mean, I'd love to have, Oregon berries fuel OSU athletes type thing. So Kat was going to look into it.
Dave, I wasn't on the commission when this program you're talking about was in place. Would you mind coming to the next commission meeting and we'll discuss this and maybe try to get something set up?
Sure, yeah, if the dates line up with something I can make, yeah.
All right.
Wayne was there.
Yeah,
So he
I believe it was, gosh, I can't remember what it was named, matching grant, or I think
Isn't
maybe
that
it was
long
called
ago?
the matching grant.
Leonard was very big.
Yes,
Leonard.
and it was open to the processors in Oregon.
I was there,
Or
Dave, and we
processors of
did,
Oregon fruit.
we've talked about it, bringing it up. We've discussed it real recently.
But that idea with Oregon State too, Kat knows about that, or?
Yeah, she or Darcy were looking into it. But I mean, it was, the athletic person knew I did berries, so they approached me, but obviously I'm not the person to deal with it. But I sent the information to Phil and Brian Allison.
Awesome.
So it just seems like it could be a really fun thing if done right. But like I said, I have no idea if it's something that Stallbush looks to partner with, either right across the river, or whether it's an industry-wide thing that can help somebody.
And we are having discussions at the meetings too on getting the berries into the school lunch program. We still haven't given up hope on that with some new unique ideas of how to present them, because that would move a lot of blackberries in the hurry too.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's something that has to be subsidized. The school programs have very little money. I would really hit our head against a wall with them because we had a really neat little frozen dessert that was formulated, and when it got all down to it, and the price, they just were not going to be able to afford it. And it wasn't that it wasn't the right item; it had all Oregon fruit in it, and
It was
just-
really good.
Yeah, I mean, you'd almost have to say we're going to almost put a little money into it to get them to actually take the product, because they're pretty cheap when it comes to what they buy.
What Linda's saying is they were wanting 40-cent blackbirds.
Yeah, they were.
Would the growers support it if Oregon wanted to do it?
Pardon me?
Would the growers support it if it was the U of O? Still negative?
At what price?
You know, another subject that David, did you have something on the same thing?
No.
So I was going to change subject. Another subject that, you know, I seem to see coming up fairly often, and it was at this last commission meeting too, again, was this whole supporting organic production or not. And the incident that happened, I don't know, that was 15 years ago, with one of the organic growers that came to the commission, and the resolution was that they were exempt from assessments. So that the commission basically has not yet received any assessments from organic growers. And I'd just like to, it's really a block in some ways to approving any kind of organic type of research, because we're not even getting support from that segment of the industry. It's a dilemma for me, and I don't know that there's any resolution to that at the moment, but it's out there.
I think there's a dilemma for us as well. I think we'd really love to have input from others about the organic dilemma, because it does get batted around at different meetings. It hasn't gone anywhere recently. And it
You
is
have to
something we
approach
should
the
try to-
organic industry somewhere, or some of those growers. Any other issues? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to, this is sort of reverse, because I'm receiving money that we're really grateful for. But it sort of came to a head here a little bit as we talked about budgets, and hearing that you are in better shape. I realize that we meaning Bernie and I, sort of like, I assume like going through the Depression was for my father. Because we went through that crisis where you guys very generously kept us as a budget item through those times when we were asked to cut back, and you know, what are you not going to do if you're not going to have this budget? And I think as a result, our budgeting is probably 10 years behind the times, especially as we've expanded black raspberries, which are so expensive to harvest in the station. And so I guess I'm just saying that it's not like we're going to go crazy on requesting budget, but we do need to really closely examine what gets asked for work at the station, and see whether that should be, you know, instead of going up $2,000, maybe we should go up $8,000 or $10,000 to really do what we already are doing.
Yep. I'll let you guys off the hook, I guess, unless you guys got anything else. All the hard questions.
No more questions?
Thanks.